Hello, this is my policy presentation by Lauren Cancio, and today I'm going to be going over the AB-58 pupil health policy that me being the principal of Southland Schools Online that I would really desire to really administrate and focus on within the next few years. So just to give you kind of oversight and just an overview of our school, it is a K through 12 fully online school with 6 different entities. We are UC approved, we have a Cognia accreditation, we have wonderful teachers, we're flexible, affordable, and accessible. And the reason why I'm doing an overview before jumping into the policy is because I definitely foresee issues and possible hindrances when it comes to my students' future mental health. So I'll go ahead and kind of just go through these items just so you have an idea of what our school is about. So we are UC approved. We have all of our courses meet the A through G UC requirements. We have a plethora of different options students can choose from 200 different courses that they could go ahead and pick based on their passions. We have career technical electives. There's also an opportunity for international students to do a dual diploma option to save some money. And we also have a global recognition regarding our Cognia accreditation, the fact that the curriculum that we outsource and along with the one that we are creating in-house has a Cognia accreditation. So we have a wonderful foundation, along with having highly qualified teachers. All of them are credentialed. All of our teachers are certified. Some have master's degrees as well, but they're all certified in the online platform. So, and all of them are also been trained on our 5 P's of excellence, which is, they're all passionate about what they do: personal, prompt, purposeful, and professional. So in that, everything sounds wonderful about our program, and I definitely agree. But the part that does worry me is the fact that our program is very flexible regarding when students can be learning and accessible. So the fact that we have rolling enrollment, parents can actually fine tune when students start and end a semester or a quarter. It's all personalized based on the family schedule. Yes, our tuition is affordable because it definitely saves families on tuition, commute, and textbooks because it's included in our tuition. And the fact that it's accessible is very convenient. Students can hop on and work through their online classes, and they get that teacher support. The part, though, that I am most worried about, and that's why I've chose this particular policy, is the fact that having this idea of a global classroom where they can learn anywhere, anytime, is the fact that they, at points, will be isolated. They won't have that socialization that normal traditional students have, going to school every day, Monday through Friday, seeing their peers. They may have lack of support, whether it is from their teacher or just from having their pupils around and being able to go ahead and check in of how their friends understood the lesson. There's this idea of a lack of community and disconnection. So in that, I know that this particular policy focusing on suicide prevention, and I'll just read this really quick, is the whole point of this policy is to adopt a policy on pupil suicide prevention that specifically addresses suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention. So this bill would require a local educational agency by the 2022-23 school year to provide suicide awareness and prevention training at the beginning of each school year to teachers of pupils in all of the grades served by the local educational agency. And honestly, going back to this slide of the fact that I know my students are going to be experiencing isolation, lack of support, lack of community, disconnection, because of how accessible and flexible it is, and they are online. They're not connecting with their peers on a regular basis. This is going to be extremely important. It's going to be vital for me to take the time and prioritize and plan ahead on what does it look like to train my teachers on suicide prevention. What are the indicators or red flags that we look for when we are connecting with the student one-on-one? Because our school is more of an asynchronous approach to learning, and we do have both. We have synchronous and asynchronous, but most families, because of the fact that they can save on tuition, they have chosen the asynchronous model, which means the students are even more isolated in some of the learning processes because they're not needing the teacher to be as involved. So in that, I know for a fact as the principal of the school, this is going to be a big training that I'm going to need to outsource a particular company to provide our teachers with good tools and resources of how to figure out what the red flags are regarding when students are high risk. So let me continue. So the high risk groups that connected to this policy are youth bereaved by suicide, youth with disabilities, mental illness, or substance use disorders, youth experiencing homelessness, or youth in and out of home settings such as foster care. Our LGBTQ community is also at high risk. And as I'm preparing my new enrollment for this upcoming school year, for the 2021 to 2022 school year, I am really going to be ensuring that these questions are being asked on our enrollment forms, regarding mental health, regarding where they live, regarding their sexual preference, regarding, even the socioeconomic status of their family, because this is going to give a good indicator of whether I, as an administrator, along with my teachers, should be keeping a closer eye on certain students that may be experiencing suicidal thoughts. So the stakeholders that I know are going to be highly involved in instituting this particular policy in the future are, of course, myself and other administrators, my teachers, students, families, and communities. And as I close out on this presentation, I'm going to take the time on explaining how I plan to prepare each of these particular groups on being a part of instituting this policy. So for my administrators, and this doesn't just include myself, because I am a school within many schools or within our organization. I am just the online schools principal. We have our on-site, we have our overseas division. This isn't just an online issue. This is also on-site and also an overseas issue. So my plan is to start a conversation between all the principals, vice principals, and other leaders to go over this particular policy and getting buy-in where all of us are researching other companies, other organizations that we could bring in to our PDs in the summer to really get our teachers trained. And that's where I go ahead and move on to our teachers. We can only inspire and equip our teachers as much as we are equipped as administrators. So that's why I want to get all of our administrators on board to find just a good and sound professional group that knows what they're talking about regarding how we can really have our eyes open to the importance of this issue. And our teachers, once we have gone ahead and scheduled a PD, whether it's in the summer, that it doesn't stop on a 1-day training or a 2-day training, but that we would have monthly reminders, when we have our regular team meetings on this issue. And for our students to be aware, and that because our teachers are going to obviously have a higher just awareness of red flags or students that may need support. And because it's going to be on the forefront of their minds, our students are going to definitely be seen with a little bit of a closer, more intentional approach when our teachers can connect with them. So that is definitely going to be something that our students, I feel like, are going to be more supported is the fact that our teachers are more equipped. And in that, myself and other administrators communicating to our parents of what are red flags to be seeing at home. Because if anyone is more involved in their lives physically for our online school, it's their parents. They're the guardians of the students. So for me to communicate with my families, hey, these are the red flags to watch. If you see that, let us know. So we as teachers and as staff and as administrators can support your son or daughter or student. And that goes with the community. I think having our marketing really doing a good job of spreading awareness of preventing suicide prevention and self-love, and spreading that us as a school take that or taking this topic very serious, I think is going to be a really strong way for us to really implement this policy. So that's just a little bit about my online school. And just to kind of summarize, as I was going through these 6 different entities that make up my school, the part that I know is going to have the most trouble moving forward is the flexibility and the accessibility of it, and it causing isolation, lack of support, lack of community, disconnection with my students. And in that, I know this policy is going to be very needed and vital, especially since we know how rampant the technology and social media has overly overtaken this next generation. So all the more, the students are really finding themselves isolated, and really lost in social media. So my heart, is really to take a stand and train my teachers, inform my parents and community so we can best support our students. Thank you so much.